This week on the Hooters Tour with Lee Moore and Kim Breel. Coming up in the next 30 minutes, 4 championship rounds of golf, including an exciting finish at Morehouse Country Club. Also, a feature on host housing, the exciting life of moving from town to town. Our player profile is on a longtime veteran who's battled some personal hurdles to return to golf. We'll have an interesting player's tip and a rules tip, all coming up next.
Birdies, eagles, and now owls. You know, birds of a feather. Anyway, welcome to This Week on the Hooters Tour.
Our girls earn their wings every day.
Hooters, it's not just a restaurant, it's an adventure.
Fellow Americans, I've taken this airtime today to clear up a few misconceptions that have been in the press lately regarding my wife's involvement with Hooters. At no time prior to or since my having been elected president has my wife invested in Hooters. My wife has made some investments from time to time, and she does have some stock holdings. She has some IBM and some General Motors and some mutual funds, but she does not have any Hooters. Thank you.
Bastrop, Louisiana, and the Morehouse Country Club. This is the site of our 5th tournament of the year. I'm Lee Moore.
And I'm Kim Breel. This week, Lee, our Hooters Tour players will be taking on a well-manicured, almost 6,700-yard course.
Let's talk just a minute about the Hooters Tour. The players on this tour are among the very best in the world. They're working their way to the PGA and also the Nike Tour. Currently, about 1/3 of the players on the PGA Tour have part of this in their resume, and about half the players on the Nike Tour. So our tour really does contribute to what happens in the bigger picture in professional golf.
Well, let's meet some of these talented players as we go out on the course. Here again for action on Thursday and Friday in the Coca-Cola Classic, a 72-hole, $100,000 event.
Perfect weather and a perfectly conditioned golf course will greet the players in the first annual Coca-Cola Classic at Bastrop. 168 players will take to the greens and fairways that host pro Marvin Gray and his staff have worked so hard on this week. Marvin serves as the pro, and he heads up the maintenance work. Early Thursday, Howard Mash of Boca Raton, Florida is going to sink his par putt at the par 3 13th hole, but Howard will finish the day at +1 or 73. Jeff Griffin of Sacramento, California will also par the 13th, but for the first 18 holes, he's just going to put down a 2-under par 70. Jeff Thorson of Jacksonville, Florida tees off at number 14, and while he led a week ago after the first round at Atlanta, Jeff's going to find himself well back after the first day with a +1 73. Now, this course is going to play to about 6,800 yards, and the greens will require some precision shot making. Gibby Gilbert Jr. of Chattanooga has been playing well here in the early going of the season, but today, Gibby will not get anything going. He's going to sink his par putt at the par 4 17th, but this week, Gibby will post scores of 74, 71, 72, 70, and his 1-under put him far back on Sunday. Still, Little Gibby, as he's called, will continue to be a dominant player this season. He's been out here about 3 years, and it's just a matter of time before he gets in to the big tour. Now, let's get Jimmy Green of Mobile, Alabama into the picture because he's going to stay a very prominent part of it all week long. This former Auburn All-American has the pedigree. He has all the tools to be a winner. Friday afternoon, Jimmy's going to knock in this birdie 3 at the par 4 14th. This first round 6 under par 66 is going to give Jimmy a share of the first round lead with Jack O'Keefe, who's out of the University of Arkansas. Joe McCormick sinks a par putt on the par 5 first hole, and Joe is alone in second place at -5 going into the second day. After 2 rounds, Jimmy Green is alone at 8 under par. Now, 46 players are under par as we move to the weekend. The players this week say the key is going to be hitting a lot of greens and fairways. The greens are firm and quick, and it's going to be hard to get the ball to check up on the greens.
So after 36 holes of play, Jimmy Green has a thin one-shot lead over Mike Schwartz and Ricky Smallridge. Now, there are 23 players within 5 shots of the lead, included just a couple of shots back, Jack O'Keefe and also the veteran Hooters Tour player John Huff. Huff, incidentally, was a 2-time winner on this tour back in '91. There are 7 players at -5. In that group is Scott McCarron, who has played consistently all year long. Also back in there is Steve Thomas. He's a winner on this tour just about a month or so ago up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. Now the group at -4 are all Hooters Tour regulars. Rob McKelvey, Javier Sanchez, Dickie Thompson. Also, he was a winner earlier in the year back in Columbus. And Ronnie Kirkpatrick. Also in there is Craig Perks, whom we talked about on our first show. You know, he is our co-player of the year.
When we come back in Bastrop, Louisiana, we'll check out our Monday qualifiers. Shootout winner, a very familiar name to this tour, and the tour's 91 Player of the Year talks about a personal battle to get back to golf. And one of the biggest pro-ams of the year was played right here.
Boy, it was. And the people of Bastrop really opened their arms to the Hooters players in many ways. We're going to show you one of those right after this.
Hi, I'm Natalie from Hooters in Baton Rouge. Stick around, we'll be right back.
Everybody's getting happy at Hooters.
Table 7 and 8. And remember, 7, you're playing for Bud Light, ladies.
The boys are back in town.
These guys are good.
Who are you calling guys?
Yeah.
Looks like you're in the finals.
Ma'am, for the great taste that won't fill you up and never let you down, make it a Bud Light.
You're the defending ladies pool champion?
Yes, I am.
Our week began with that Monday qualifier. 3 guys fired 2 under par 70s to become the medalist. There was Jerry Lavosphere, Tim Zimmer-Ebner, and Bob Ralston, and all 16 were added to the field.
On Tuesday, Lee, we had our shootout, which was sponsored by Bastrop National Bank. Dickie Thompson took the $500 first place check, edging out Jeff Cook, who received a $300 check. And Ricky Smallridge, he picked up a $200 check for third place.
The Coca-Cola Classic Pro-Am had 46 teams, with Kelly Korleski's group shooting a whopping 19 under par for the victory. Now, Korleski's team included Steve Sills, also on there was Matt Lee, T. Grayson, and Scott Myers. In the B group, Dan Coyle led the team of D. McKenzie, B. Guinness, J. Bean, and also S. Sills. The winning score there was 56.
That's good on any day in my book. Now, there's a young man that's made a big splash early in his life. His name is Eric Johnson. He was the 1980 United States Junior Champion, later an All-American at the University of Oregon, and seemingly on his way to the PGA Tour.
Golf seemed to come easy to me when I was young. I don't know if it was more of a, athletics sometimes come easy to kids when they seem to have a prowess in a certain sport. Hand a kid a basketball when he's 10 and all of a sudden he can go behind his back and lay it in, where another kid can't even dribble it without dribbling off his foot. So yeah, golf came easy to me. Sports came pretty easy to me, but golf as a general rule was what I always loved doing as a recreational and what I hope to do as a job someday.
Yes, Eric Johnson was the best bet to make it on the PGA Tour. He won everything imaginable as a junior golfer. He was highly recruited out of high school, and he had an excellent collegiate career at Oregon. Eric turned professional in 1983. He is a 4-time winner on the Hooters Tour, and many don't realize that he's the all-time leading money winner on this tour with over $100,000. But things are not always as they appear.
When most people are shifting into overdrive, I was shifting into a treatment facility for alcoholism. Yeah, and I had to. Golf was the last thing on my mind. When I was in there, I talked about when I got sober that I'd play golf again. When I got out, I realized that I better take care of other business before I ever took care of golf again. I thought golf would come back to me. I didn't really care if it did or not. I wanted other things to come back to me. First, I wanted the bridges that I'd semi-burned. I wanted those rebuilt. I wanted to get my life back in order again. All the things that people that go through a change in their life want to do again.
He's on track now with his personal life, but his professional career is still in the rebuilding mode. You see, playing now is playing without a crutch, and that means trying to win without a crutch.
It had been a couple years since I'd quit drinking when I finally came out here. I was just flat scared to death to play again. I don't recall, I'm not sure I broke 80 for a while when I first started playing again sober. I'd played intoxicated, except for the rare times when I tried to play in a tournament. I played intoxicated to some level for probably 5 or 6 years. I didn't know what it was like to play sober anymore. So I was scared to death to play sober. When I quit drinking, I think I actually played 8 times the first year. I just did not want to go play. I knew what was going to happen. I knew I'd hit it all over the yard. I knew I wouldn't putt very well. I knew I'd chip terribly.
Eric Johnson, EJ as he is known to his friends out here, is back home now and he's comfortable with his golf game. Speaking of being at home, many of the Hooters players are finding a home away from home as they make that 21-week cross-country tour.
Host housing. People in the community helping out young and not so young guys chasing a dream. Our focus this week is on Phyllis Grant of Bastrop, Louisiana.
Well, we're a paper mill town, International Paper Company, and they're our livelihood. And when the boys came in, they said, "Oh, this is a wonderful small town, but it smells." And we all said, "It smells like money to us." So it's really a wonderful place to live, a wonderful place to bring up your children. We don't have any problems that big cities have.
This week, 168 Hooters pros invaded Morehouse Country Club and the little town of Bastrop. Miss Grant agreed to house 2 staff members and 3 tour players, a lot by most standards, but to Miss Grant, 5 additions to her family is 3 shy of what she's used to.
Well, I have 8 children, and I have 15 grandchildren and 4 great-grandchildren, and we get together often, and we need a big place for all of us. There are 32 of us when we get together, and we enjoy it. We have a swimming pool and a tennis court, and we have the little country club, and we cook, and we are very family-oriented, and we love it.
Yes, our staff and players were welcome to Grant's Country Club, a pool, lighted tennis courts, and if we had little ones, Little Grant's Country Club.
I wish I could keep all 80 of them, 100 of them, however many there are. They're wonderful. They are the nicest group of men I've ever seen anywhere. And anybody that has any doubts about keeping them should never have any doubts.
Miss Grant has been in Bastrop for 45 years. This is her husband's hometown. He passed away 4 years ago, and she still runs a hardware store and manages the club. She's already looking forward to next year.
They were so wonderful. And after about the 3rd day when I walked in and they said, "Hi, Mom," I felt so good.
Phyllis Grant is typical of the many people across the country that open their homes and their hearts to our players. When we come back to the Morehouse Country Club and the Coca-Cola Classic, a classic battle shapes up.
We'll be right back on the Hooters Tour.
So I said to Henny, of course chickens are more important to Hooters than owls.
Who?
Chickens, that's who.
I beg to differ.
Well, beg all you want. Without chickens, there'd be no chicken sandwiches or chicken salad. Or Hooters' famous chicken wings. There'd be no Hooters if it weren't for chicken.
It's really not wise to even argue the point.
That's because I'm right.
No, that's because you're not going to be around long anyway. Chicken. Naturally fresh, simply delicious.
Just wait and see. You'll taste the quality.
The quality, preservative free. We always have been, always will be. Naturally, it's simply delicious. Naturally fresh, it's a lifestyle.
Are you still drinking the old thing? Try the next thing, Powerade. With 33% more carbos than Gatorade and a taste you can really slam. Powerade, the next thing.
Ricky Smallridge just might be our most consistent player here early in the season. He's going to waste little time in going after his Alabama neighbor, Jimmy Green, as round 3 got underway.
There were a lot of familiar names atop of the leaderboard going into Saturday's round 3. Names like Green, Swartz, and Smallridge. Jack O'Keefe from Little Rock, Arkansas, and John Huff from Atlanta. There were 7 guys at -5. 3 shots off the leader, Jimmy Green. One of which was Steve Thomas, our winner in Chattanooga. Another was Brian Gorman of San Diego, California. Gorman had made it to -7 with this birdie 3 on the par 4, number 4. Scott McCarron, who's always a threat, started the day at -5, but he would have troubles finding birdies and will card an even par 72 round to stay at -5 for the championship. Ricky Smallridge, who has been knocking hard at the winner's circle, will continue this week at Morehouse Country Club. He birdies number 5. Number 13, he'll chip in for yet another birdie. And he'll close with this birdie on number 18. His score of 67 will have him in the final group for Sunday's last round. Jack O'Keefe also shot a 67 on Saturday. This birdie at number 1 was the starting point for Jack. He makes a good birdie here at number 8 and another at number 13. He had it to -12 with this birdie at 16, but a bogey on 17 brought him back to -11, where he will stay going into the final round. Keep an eye on John Huff from Atlanta. His 68 today puts him at -10, along with Brian Gorman. 2 shots off our leader, Ricky Smallridge. The 54-hole leaderboard has Ricky Smallridge leading the Coca-Cola Classic in Bastrop. 10 players will have a real shot at the title and the $15,000 first prize. Jack O'Keefe is just 1 stroke back at -11. Brian Gorman and John Huff are a couple of more shots back. Second round leader Jimmy Green joins our winner of a week ago, tied for 5th. At -8, a new name, Steve Haynes and Mike Swartz, a couple of guys from Phoenix. Craig Perks and Vance Veazey are parked at 7 under par, and Dickie Thompson is 6 strokes behind the leader.
Starting our final 18 holes at the Morehouse Country Club, it's anybody's ball game, but Ricky Smallridge is going to be a hard man to beat. Now, here's how the tournament unfolds on Sunday.
This Coca-Cola Classic may be a classic before it's over, and there are several guys anxious to pocket the $15,000 first place check. Out of the gate early, Steve Pope. He'll eagle the par 5 first hole, putting him at -11 and 1 stroke off the leader, Ricky Smallridge. But number 1 would turn out to be a good starting hole for many of the front runners, like John Huff and Brian Gorman, both birdieing to go -11 for the tournament. Jack O'Keefe would take advantage as well. His birdie 4 will put him tied for the lead early on. And by number 4, Jimmy Green and Steve Pope would have birdies, and they too will stand at -11. Jimmy Green just misses a birdie at number 8, and that would have given him sole possession of first place at -14. It wouldn't take him long, though. He comes back with a birdie at number 9, and he is now 14 under and our leader. By hole 14, Green would take it one more step with this birdie to go to -15. Mike Schwartz wasn't far off, and he's been playing well. This par at 18 gives him a 67 for the day, and he will post a 13 under par score for the tournament and $8,500 for second place. Jimmy Green will pick up his first win of the year.
I've hit some good golf shots this year. I think sometimes I've gotten in a hurry when I've got it 4 or 5 under. And this week I've stayed really patient. You know, even if you make a bogey, you still go on. And actually, I guess I outweighted the other guys this week and happened to win one.
Checking our final leaderboard, Jimmy Green from Mobile, Alabama picks up the first place check for $15,000. Mike Schwartz from Phoenix is in there at second. He gets $8,500 for his efforts here this week at Bastrop. Craig Perks, Brian Gorman, and Jack O'Keefe all winning just over $4,000. Some of the others there on that final leaderboard included Steve Thomas, a winner a few weeks ago at Chattanooga. Also Vance Vesey picking up his biggest check of the year out of Senatobia, Mississippi. Bo Fennell picks up a check for $1,750, and so does Dickie Thompson, who won at Columbus, Georgia, along with John Huff. Ryan Housen closes out that top leaderboard at -8.
There's still more to come on This Week on the Hooters Tour. A couple of tips and our money and points leaders through week 5.
Hi, I'm Kristen from Dallas Hooters. Stick around for more golf.
Fellow Americans, I've taken this airtime today to clear up a few misconceptions that have been in the press lately regarding my wife's involvement with Hooters. At no time prior to or since my having been elected president has my wife invested in Hooters. My wife has made some investments from time to time, and she does have some stock holdings. She has some IBM and some General Motors and some mutual funds, but she does not have any Hooters. Thank you.
Our girls earn their wings every day.
Hooters, it's not just a restaurant, it's an adventure.
Professional golfers use all kinds of gimmicks to help them out. Now, Hooters Tour player Marion Dantzler spent a couple of bucks to change the tune of his putting.
Hi, I'm Marion Dantzler of the Hooters Tour, and today I'm going to talk to you about putting. And I've got a device that I think may help. It's a metronome that you can buy at your local music store, and what it does, it helps build consistency in your putting stroke. Most amateurs that I see, their stroke is either too fast or too slow. With this set at 60 beats a minute, it will help build a more consistent stroke. So go out to your local music store, get a metronome, and it may change the tune of your golf game.
It'll cost more than a couple of bucks if you hit it into a hazard. That's according to Jeff Harlow, our rules official.
Today's rules tip is on lateral water hazards. I think we've all been in one of those little areas marked by red stakes and lines out there on the golf course. When you find yourself in a lateral hazard, you've got 5 options. Play the ball as it lies, or play a ball as nearly as possible at the spot from which the original ball was last played. You can drop a ball behind the water hazard, keeping the point at which the original ball last crossed the margin of the water hazard directly between the hole and the spot on which the ball is dropped, with no limit to how far behind the water hazard the ball may be dropped. Or you may drop a ball outside the water hazard within 2 club lengths of the point where the original ball last crossed the margin of the hazard, or on a point on the opposite margin of the water hazard, equidistant from the hole. The ball must be dropped and come to rest not nearer the hole than the point where the original ball last crossed the margin of the water hazard. The ball may be cleaned when lifted under this rule. Knowing the rules can save you strokes, and out here, that's money, baby.
So after 5 weeks of play, here's a look at that top 10 on the money list. So after 5 weeks of play, our top money winner is Jimmy Green, thanks to his win right here at Bastrop, almost $25,000. Dickie Thompson is right in there, just over $22,000, and then Steve Thomas. The number 5 man is Steve Pope, who won a few weeks ago in Atlanta, and then Ricky Smallridge, a guy who has not won, but has made an awful lot of money. Scott McCarron, Mike Schwartz, Hicks Melanson, and Joe Durant round out our top 10.
And taking a look at our Naturally Fresh $100,000 bonus race, a couple of changes from a week ago. Our leader to date is Scott McCarron. He's got a 22-point lead over Ricky Smallridge. Dickie Thompson's in at 3rd, Jimmy Green at 4th, and Andrew Morris in at 5. Rounding out the top 10, you've got Thomas, Ryan Howson moves into 7th, John Huff, Jack O'Keefe, and Bo Fennell.
It's been a fantastic week here at the Morehouse Country Club in Bastrop, Louisiana. A special thanks goes out to Van Lee, also the International Paper Company, Coca-Cola, and I might add to Kim, the many great volunteers who helped to make this a week none of us on this tour will soon forget. Also our players and our staff.
Next week, Lee, we're going to be just a couple of hours down the road from Bastrop in Natchez, Mississippi. Until then, have a terrific week, and we'll see you next time right here on This Week on the Hooters Tour.
So long, everybody.
Hi, I'm Sam. Join us again next week right here for This Week on the Hooters Tour.
This Week on the Hooters Tour is brought to you by Hooters Restaurants. Hooters, delightfully tacky yet unrefined. Naturally Fresh Foods. Naturally fresh, preservative-free salad dressings, sauces, and dips. And by Bud Light. Won't fill you up, never let you down. The Hooters Tour would like to acknowledge our host hotels. In Douglas, Georgia, the Shoney's Inn. In Chattanooga, Tennessee, the Holiday Inn Southeast. In Columbus, Georgia, the Holiday Inn and the Hampton Inn. In Atlanta, the Peachtree Executive Conference Center. And in Bastrop, the Country Inn.